Yo, what's up? This is SoSaysJ. Welcome to the Aussie Suns Fans Podcast. Yeah, these guys are fucking idiots. Yeah, the podcast is borderline okay, maybe, but I listen to every week, so you should too.
Welcome, everybody, to Season 2, Episode 30 of the Aussie Suns Fans Podcast. I am joined again by Nate and Boyd, as always. How you going, lads?
Very well, very well.
Awesome. And we have a special guest on board for his second time. Jay, how you going? Welcome back. I know you spent a lot of time harassing us earlier today on our chat group because you were determined to get on twice before Paul got on once.
All I know is I'm going to continue to sabotage any attempts of Paul being on this podcast until I'm on here at least half a dozen times.
Excellent. That sounds good to us.
Oh dear.
We're going to use this one. We're going to use this episode to just wrap up, obviously, the round one series against the Pels and go into a little bit of a preview of our round two series against Dallas. And we may even touch on the other series and the other series that are currently underway and see what everyone thinks. Obviously, we got through the Pelicans 4-2. Pretty much standard. I think it was what we all thought had happened. That last game, I think we were pretty much in control for most of the game. I wasn't really nervous at any stage in that game. What about yourselves?
Well, I was trying to watch it, and let's say I was listening to it because I wouldn't watch my phone while I was driving. But I did have to work down the Gold Coast, which is about at least 50 minutes, an hour and a bit in traffic from where I needed to go. So the game started at 9:30 in the morning. My appointment was at 10:30, so I caught the first quarter and a bit there, and then I missed up till halftime, and then I did a quick appointment, rushed it out, jumped back in the car, and then caught the rest of the game driving back up. And yeah, I was getting nervous. I'm sorry. I didn't get to see all the encouragement that we spoke about since, where it never looked like we were losing the game. It never looked like we didn't have a hold on it. I just got these patches where I'm like, shit. So,
the game felt a little bit more like normal regular season in comparison to everything else in the series. It was kind of the feeling I got from it. Apart from the fact that I cracked the shits and jumped out of the chat group because of the...
That was fun when you actually did it. You actually did it this time. You actually threw the toys out the cot.
Hey, can I just say I'm happy that your chat group does that too, because I'm not going to lie, like during game 4, I kicked Dan out of our chat group because he brought in negativity that I believe the only comment I said was, "No, Daniel, not today," and then just sent him out. Sure enough, though, he was correct because the Suns lost that game. So then I brought him back in, and I was like, "Dan, right?" And then he immediately left right after I brought him back in, which fair. I can't blame him for that. And then like 2 days later, before game 5, I was like, "Bro, please let me put you back in and don't leave because I can't handle game 5 starting thinking that the juju in Suns universe is off and because of me." So he came back in and we know Suns won games 5 and 6, so clearly.
But actually, before we move, what chat message group do you use, Justin? Like the States? So like if Asians use WeChat, we use Messenger, WhatsApp's out there as well. Like what's the standard group chat you use in the States? I'm curious.
It's just like we group chat just through our iMessage. Like just like, do you guys have iPhones Apple out there, right? iPhones just Apple exists and all, right?
So yeah, a literal text group. Okay.
I was actually saying this to those guys the other day. I'm like, I swear to God, the Aussies are the only reason I've now started using Facebook again, because I haven't used Facebook in forever. You guys love Facebook Messenger, man. That's why sometimes, like, if you guys message me and I don't respond for like 4 days, it's because I just haven't looked at the freaking, and I don't have like alerts up. But anyway, so that's how we communicate here in the States. Just regular, good old fashioned. I mean, if I have to send some high priority stuff that needs to, there's no track, no record, then, we've got our ways. But usually that doesn't involve Sun stuff.
Sorry,
it was, I threw the toys out of the cot. I left the Facebook chat group. Just as a heads up, I probably will do it 2 or 3 more times during the playoffs because us Aussie Suns fans that are listening and here, the reason we started the Aussie Suns fans group was the negative, absolute bullshit that goes on in some of those US Suns fans groups. And that chat was the most negative piece of shit I've ever seen in my life in a game that we were winning. Fair enough, the first half didn't go to plan, but guys, we all season we're the number one seed for a fucking reason. Give it a chance and let the guys play that game. Boyd, how'd you see the series?
Yeah, I'm glad it's fucking in the review mirror, mate. It's getting that. I'm glad Minnesota are out because I wouldn't want to face another Pat Bev Alvarado fucking type player again. I think their size made us adjust multiple times and made it a bit awkward for us. A lot of our guys weren't hitting shots. We played really poorly against a bottom feeder, and so our floor pretty much beat their ceiling, I feel, in that series. So I'm glad to see the end of it. But yeah, look, I'm just really, really pumped that Book's back, and I think in that closeout game, in that game 6, I think even though he didn't do much statistically, I think he's just them knowing that he's there, that gravity that he brings to free things up for others. I think that really, really, really helped us. So good to see him back.
He played a decoy. That was a decoy game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's all it was. They played him so that he could draw one of the key defenders, and that was it. And it took the Pels until the last quarter to work out that was happening. And then they just left him completely, and he hit that 3, which was pretty.
Oh, yes, it was very pretty.
Wide open. Like it was. They couldn't work out that it was the decoy game. But
I was actually surprised at the fact that if you look back, they really didn't have a true point guard. Like, does anyone here call CJ McCollum a true point guard?
No.
I always considered him an off guard because he always played off Dame. But I never considered him a real ball handler, but that was essentially the only point guard they really had that was distributing like a point guard.
Coming into the league, CJ was a point guard, first and foremost. And I think Dame just sort of overshadowed that and forced him into that shooting guard position. So I think he's really found his stride with New Orleans, and I think he's being at the helm, being at that number one spot. I think he's it's going to do really good things for his career moving forward, and I think he's going to get a nice little payday after this contract. And good on him. I like CJ McCollum.
Yeah, Tully Johnson.
Yeah, up until that point, yeah.
Up until
dude, that was wild, right? Because dude, I love CJ. I've always loved CJ, and it was funny because I left the office a little late, so I was listening to that game, the first quarter driving home, and I heard Bloom and TK talking about it, and I was like, oh, that's weird from CJ, but I'm thinking it can't be that bad. And I got home and I rewound it because I had the game recorded. I watched. I was like, what the fuck was that?
A shoulder barge, then an aftermarket arm extension pushing him into the crowd, essentially. Like,
hey, dude,
how did that not get called a flagrant 2? I don't get it.
Guys, it was grubby. It was grubby, but I like that physical. I like physicality in playoffs.
Within reason, certainly.
Yeah. And look, probably not so much that sort of stuff, but
I don't mind that, but that was a hip and shove.
Consistency from the refs, though, right?
That's
like, call some shit, call everything the same. Like,
well, and there's no way. I mean, look, that absolutely was called a flagrant 1 because it was the playoffs. That's a flagrant 2 in any regular season game, and I understand that the game gets called a little differently in the playoffs, but that kind of stuff shouldn't get called differently. Like a non-basketball play is a non-basketball play, whether it's the regular season, playoffs, preseason, pickup ball, whatever.
And they tossed Draymond today for it. And there was
right. Yeah, there's a good point.
It was the right call.
Hey, so quick question to all you guys. Out of that series, Herb Jones on Chris Paul, Jackson Hayes on fucking Jay Crowder.
DA. Fuck. And what about the DA one? Oh, that was Herb Jones. The shoulder.
It was Herb Jones was on Chris Paul.
Herb Jones did it twice. He also hip and shouldered DA and hit him in the jaw.
I probably didn't notice it as much because
Game
of
one.
the oh yes.
Yeah, we'll speak about it on the pod, mate.
Let's look at the three main ones. So Herb on Chris, Hayes on Jay, and the CJ one. Which one was the grubbiest in your opinion? Which one pissed you off the most?
Yeah. It was CJ easy. I mean, CJ was the cheapest play of all of them. And I think, and maybe this helped him a little bit in that situation, but also it's just so out of character for him. And I guess I don't know enough about Herb Jones.
Exactly.
Well, Jackson Hayes has his off the court problems, which would indicate perhaps some temper issues, but that's a whole different story. But for CJ, he did blow me a kiss though, which scared me a little bit for those same reasons. That's a whole.
I actually thought the Herb Jones one on Chris Paul was the worst one.
That's the best player, right?
And here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say that made that one worse, though, too, is the fact that, okay, well, there was a little extracurricular from Chris Paul before, okay? But Herb Jones looked at the referee and was like, why didn't you call that? And then the referee looked back at him and he was like, okay, fine, I'll just do this, while the referee was staring at it. Yeah. And the referee didn't call anything.
Which was ridiculous as well. But for me, running into somebody's back when they're not watching and hip and shouldering them in the back is far worse than what McCollum did.
Pat Bev.
Yeah, Pat Bev.
Well, shit, at least Herb Jones, the ball was in play, so I guess he had that.
True.
But hey, one thing about the Pels, look, we can sit here and there were some cheap shots throughout the series, and look, I'm sure Chris Paul got retroactively called for a flagrant one too. There was chippiness throughout, but one thing I think people need to remember about the Pels is, they were the 8/9 seed going into the play-in, right? But that's not a 9 seed that you would normally expect to see. That's not an 8 seed you normally expect to see because, and I don't remember exactly where they were, but we talked about this. I think it was on our pod last week. I don't know. But the Pels had, like, after the CJ trade, had I think the 4th or 5th best record in the NBA, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like this was a team that was mid-level as constructed once CJ came onto the squad. And I saw somebody put out there on Twitter today that the Pels could be the toughest matchup the Suns end up facing this playoff. I'm not going to sit here and disagree with that right now because, look, I'll tell you, they were a hell of a lot tougher than I thought they would be. I picked that as a Suns in 5 only because I thought we'd be gentlemanly towards Willie Green. It ended up taking 6, and it was 6 hard-fought games. Now, sure, if we had Book for all of that, maybe it is Suns in 4, 5, who knows? But at the end of the day, the series is behind us. We've got Book back for all intents and purposes healthy. So let's go fuck up the Mavs, huh?
Oh, can't wait to get stuck into.
Before we move on, though, I just wanted to go back to something Justin said about it being out of character for CJ McCollum. This, people forget, he is the new president of the Players Association.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good point.
He took Chris Paul's spot as president of the Players Association, and he's been a dirty prick.
I would love to know, like, because him and CP talked about that at some point, whether it's not even during the game, but afterwards. I would just love to know what that conversation was like, because I got to think, and I know CJ McCollum as well as you guys do, and that's from what we see him do on a basketball court. But I'd like to think that McCollum was like, bro, I just lost my shit right there. That's it. Because look, it happens.
Yeah, and I've got no doubt that their entire plan was to be physical with the Suns.
Oh, sure.
Try and get into their heads. So
everything to gain, nothing to lose. Eh?
Yeah, if they're on a fast break, if you're going to foul them hard, is where the instruction would have come from. And as far as I'm concerned, I just think he was a little overzealous in the fouling hard. I don't think there was a heap of malice to it when it comes to CJ. And you can see that he went and tried to pick him up afterwards and, almost apologised straight up. But, I don't think there was a heap of malice to it. It was just he went a bit too far with if you're going to foul him properly.
And at least there was a little bit of, like, I feel like the universe corrected itself a bit because he had foul trouble then throughout the whole game. So a game that he, for all intents and purposes, should not have been playing in from the first quarter on, he didn't have the opportunity to impact as much as he normally would with his normal minutes on the court. So in the end, in the end, it balanced out to a degree. Now, if that game ended a little differently, then you know, well, we would have already been done by now anyway and finished them in 7. But I'm sure I'd be having at least a different conversation about it.
Absolutely. And I think the press conference from Monty might have been a little bit different too, if that wasn't an ejection and we ended up losing that game. But all right, so we've wrapped up that series. One more thing for the series. MVP, I've sort of narrowed it down to 3, just so that we don't get it all out in different ones. I've heard a lot of pods that have been speaking about this anyway. There has been multiple different opinions, which is why I sort of wanted to stick to this. CP3, Mikhail, or DA? Who was your MVP? Let's go with you first, Justin.
I got to go with DA, just because outside of that game 2 where he just seemed to kind of aloof, and that was the game where Book got hurt and DA only got 6 shots up. But I think throughout the series, he was the one that was most consistent for us throughout. Again, save for that game 2. And I think when you've got Book out and you have CP having those great games, but then a couple games where it was like, not that they weren't still really good games, more like just normal games for him, I guess you can say. Having DA pick up some extra slack there obviously really helped. And yeah, he got shit on a little bit for rebounding and stuff like that. But look, we've I think the same rebounding stuff that happened in this series is exactly where there were rebounding flaws early in the year that I think we talked about last time I was on the episode, actually, guys, or on your pod, guys. But at the end of the day, I think that series there without DA and his consistency throughout, I don't want to say we have a different result, but it might not have been, you know, a 6, maybe it goes 7, I don't know. But I'll go DA.
Boyd?
I've got DA as well. Now, you guys know I was big on him throughout the series. He got a couple of my player of the weeks. Now, and it was really tough because, Mikhail had his big game and he was solid defensively. CP3 was just that freak in that game. But
let's
I know.
Yeah. Way better than solid.
But yeah, my thing is that, you know, CP3 is always what he is. He's a Hall of Famer. DA and he's a guy that sets the table. DA was the table. He really, like, when we lost Book, everybody said we need something from DA, and the man delivered for us. And I think he stood up to the pressure. He could have folded, right? He could have folded, and there could have been, like a regular season game where he's been a bit inconsistent. He could have done that, man. He hasn't yet, and fucking touch wood, he keeps going. But I just think that mentally, without Book, and just with all the outside noise, a lot of anti-Aiton people out there, I think he did exceptional, and I think he deserves it for sure.
Nate?
I'm going to be different. Like I said in our previous pods after the games, DA, and then it was CP3 for one game after the explosion. But for me personally, watching the games, I've enjoyed watching Mikhail's progression, watching him move with the ball, watching his fluidity, watching just how his game works. Whether or not he's scoring, regardless of what the box score is doing, watching him play the game has been an absolute pleasure. And I think throughout the series, he got better in every single game, just from a viewpoint. And right up to the end, you know, when he's absolutely slamming the opposition. So for me, it wasn't about who was the standout the number of times the most. It was about, in the whole series, who progressed from start to finish the most, progressing, increasing, providing more, and looking like they're going to continue to improve throughout the series, which I think is really important going into the next couple of rounds.
Really good. And just quickly on that, Nate, he does everything spot on within Monty's system. Mm-hmm. He does not take a step out of line. Monty must be fucking hard on the sidelines watching this guy do his thing just the way he said it.
He grew an extra inch over Abdul Nader.
No, don't.
Yeah. Mikhail for sure gets it. I mean, he gets that system. He gets what his role is. And dude, you guys see? Was that game 4, game 5 when he had that breakaway dunk and like Monty was like running down the sidelines with it? That was phenomenal.
That was game 5, yeah. And that was the steal,
yeah, dude, I was at game 5 and I had no clue because I wasn't really.
Was game 6? It was the winning game.
That was game 6 was the dunk. Yeah, you're right. That was a road game. You're right. But even still to the point, game 5, and to the point of Mikhail and how he's just so workmanlike about everything he does. I had no clue he had 31 points in that game until the game was over, because I wasn't looking at the box score. I wasn't paying attention. It was up on the screen. And I also didn't realize that he played 47 fucking minutes, dude. Dude, that guy's a machine. And then his post game when he's like, "I'm ready to play again. Let's go. I love this."
Well, that was the thing. At the end of the game, he didn't look tired. Like everyone's talking about 47 minutes, and he's still running and doing fast break dunks at the end of the game, which pushed him up to the 33. He was phenomenal.
20-year-old. Is he 26? He's 26.
I
was definitely more tired after that game than Mikhail was, and I was in the stands. So
that's only because I saw your videos on Twitter. That's only because you were putting so much energy into spraying the shit out of everyone that walked off the court.
Oh, dude!
But you did give someone some props. There was one that you gave props.
Oh, dude! I told when Willie Green was walking off the court. I said, "Hey, Willie, we still love you." And I also told Brandon Ingram that he's okay. So I feel like that was pretty solid. And I'm not gonna lie, I was at that game. I was looking forward to the referees walking off the court. I realized I was sitting on the opposite side that I usually do, so they don't walk my way. I was gonna tell them I thought they did an okay job. They didn't entirely they only fucked up.
They would have been waiting for their arch nemesis Justin from Twitter to fucking give them their dues. They would have been waiting too.
That was their shot, and they missed it. They walked off the other way. Whatever. I tried.
Justin,
I tried.
When people were walking off the court, I want to know the truth. Did you go below the line and make a mama joke? Did you put some shit on someone's mum?
I just
he did call Alvarado avocado though.
I did.
Okay, so you're racist. It's
racist.
Settled. You're racist.
Apparently. I remember I saw it online. I'm like, I feel like you got it. You maybe look in the mirror if you're drawing that line, buddy, drawing that connection. But hey, that everybody to each their own, right? But I told Jackson Hayes that nobody likes him, and he blew me a kiss. And I was like, okay, an avocado. Let's
the
just
freeze frame on that too was amazing when you said that through.
Oh, dude, well, because I didn't know if I got it just as he got off screen. I just got it, but dude. Avocado, like one thing he did in that game that really irked me, and it was funny because before that game I was telling Jake, who I was with, coach or fallen founder on Twitter, great dude, just met him in that game, it was fantastic. I was like, Alvarado is one of those guys where if he was on the Suns, I feel like I might actually I might be okay with him. I might like his intensity, what have you. And then he hit a 3 to cut the 15-point lead to 12 and like turned and flexed to the crowd. Oh, he shushed too. Yeah, I'm like, all right, bro. Okay, I take it back. I take it all back. Read the room.
I did want to bring it up because I think it's funny because avocado was a pain in the ass, and I did love the running around showing it to the refs and all that sort of shit. But honestly, I think you're right, Justin. If he played for the Suns, we'd love him.
Well, I don't know if I believe that anymore, but
yeah, exactly the point. Right.
I don't think the one thing I'll say about him was he was a massive pest, absolutely, but he wasn't dirty. Last year, I compared him on a pod a couple of weeks ago to Campazzo. Campazzo is a dirty little prick. I don't think Alvarado ran around belting CP or doing anything like that. He just got in his grill, and in saying that. They got all excited, and I know he posted on the video on Twitter on his own account of CP3 elbowing him in the face.
Did he really?
Saying,
"Oh God, what a pussy."
This isn't a flagrant or whatever. But in saying that, he wasn't a dirty prick. But Jose, and it might go into my encouragement award later on, but Jose. Yes, you're in his face. You thought you were in his head, but that man hit 14 from 14 in that last game, scored 33 points, and basically single-handedly won the game. You weren't in his head, dude. You might have hoped you got into his head for a fleeting second, but reality is CP3 did point God things in that last game, and you ain't in his head if he's hitting 14 from 14. And these weren't open layups. These were contested jump shots. And these were tough shots and he was 14 from 14. So I'm also going to give my MVP to DA. just because everybody said he needed to step up, he needed to step up. I don't believe that he needed to step up. I just thought he needed to get more reps out of how we structure our offense. I did say that I might have been on the Fanning the Flames pod when I was on with you guys, Justin. But I just don't think his number gets called enough at times, especially when we're struggling to score. In this series, it did because we didn't have Book. And DA showed exactly why he deserves the bag. And DA showed why he was the right number one pick and why he's so important to this team. But I just wanted to give CP3 some love because that fucking game was phenomenal. That 14 from 14 was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. So I actually, I don't know if you guys listened to our last episode, but that was the first time it was ever done in a playoff game.
Yeah.
But do you guys know the last time it was actually done 14 for 14, at least?
Yeah,
14
I do, only because I listened to the pod.
Yeah.
Same here.
I love it. Hey,
against us.
Yeah, against us. Talk about
Thomas
full
Bryant.
circle though, because a lot of those guys were on the floor for exactly the three of the guys. I should say a lot of the guys. Three of them were on the floor. Not CP. DA, Book, and Mikhail. And just the full circle of it now happening for us in the freaking playoffs less than 4 years later is beautiful. Just beautiful.
But even there, the Thomas Bryant one would have been open dunks and layups and tip-ins and offensive rebounds, and it wasn't what CP3 was pulling the other night. That was a masterclass.
100%.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Encouragement award. I don't know whether you've had the pleasure of doing one of those, Justin. So the encouragement award can go to anybody. It's your award to give out. It can go to anybody you want it to in the NBA. Out of the NBA, it's your encouragement award. Do whatever you like. Boyd likes to think that he's mature and hand these out to someone he thinks needs a pat on the back and encouragement, where Nate and I sort of go a little bit outside the box and make this, try to make this humorous so that people actually enjoy it.
They try to make it not make sense.
So you get an
Exactly
example.
what they do.
So you get an example. I'll let these two go first and you can
I love it.
Boyd, who's your encouragement award for let's say the first round of the playoffs?
Big Willie style Green, and seeing him tearing up with Monty at the end of it, and he's tight with Chris Paul. I love Willie Green. I loved him when he was on our staff, and I love that he's got this opportunity. And I'm glad that he made the playoffs, and he's got a bright future. So Willie Green, keep going, mate. You got my encouragement award.
That's a shit encouragement award. Willie Green can get fucked. He sent his players out to belt our blokes. He can get fucked. I don't like him anymore. Nate, who's your encouragement award for?
When, on paper, when I first saw this, I was like, Willie Green needs a pat on the back. But Boyd went there first, and then after what you just said, then fuck it. So
You're glad you didn't go first.
I'm going to give my encouragement award to the chap that blew avocado after the loss. Because, there needs to be a ring of encouragement and a circle of encouragement, and avocado and whoever the gentleman on his knees blowing him after the game, that needs to be the ring of encouragement. And that's where I'm going to leave that series at, because that's where it deserves to be left.
Yeah, that's...
All right.
I tried to go as far the opposite direction as I could.
Wow.
You put the challenge out there. I'm just like, well, it was big gay day here yesterday in the Valley, so it was,
Is that why we didn't hear from you?
You guys, wait. You went by the Valley?
Yeah, I thought this might happen. Nate, I think you've got a question from Justin after that last statement.
Oh, yeah.
The Valley out there?
In Brisbane, we've got Fortitude Valley, which is like the cesspool drug disco dance district.
That's the Valley.
Like all the nightclubs, any of the strip clubs, the prostitutes, they're moving further out, but they're still there. There's still the homeless van that comes in and feeds everyone. So it's a nice. It's a nice there.
How close do you live to this area?
4 kilometers, which is probably like 2 miles.
Is if/when I come to Australia, leave my Valley gear
Oh no, bring that shit. I mean, me and Gav went straight there. Boyd, we left Boyd there.
Sure I'm not gonna. I want to make sure I don't send out the wrong message.
We lost Boyd in the Valley. He disappeared on us. So
It really was. Every year they have Big Gay Day, and the Wickham Hotel has its massive thing, takes over a street, has a little party. That was literally yesterday. So when you said go as far the opposite direction from Willie Green, that's what jumped to the top of my head, brother.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And it wasn't racist because
Justin, who's your? Yeah, well, it was because you're talking avocado. It was racist and gay. Justin, who is your encouragement award for? Now that you've had an example,
I feel like I need to put a like a disclaimer out there for people in the States who listen to this. That I'm like, since I'm on it now. Okay, let's see. I want to see if I do this right. I don't know if I'm doing this right, but okay. I think you might not like the start, but you'll like where I'm going. I think I'm going to give my encouragement award to Robert Sarver because I'm hoping that the first round helped further encourage him to see that DA should get paid this offseason, so he remains a part of this team for a very long time. So for that reason, I will give that award to Robert Sarver. Also, he looked kind of sad at the game. I mean, he probably has stuff to be sad about, investigations, what have you.
Is that why he's got a burner phone?
No, dude, that dude has had a flip phone forever. Like, that's his thing. Like, he has a legit flip phone that does not take pictures. Like, it's like you guys know the Razor? Remember that thing? That was like the super thin phone that came out in like 2000 that everyone was like, oh, this technology is amazing. It like predates that. It's phenomenal. And I'm pretty sure, like, you think about the technology, he can't possibly have the same phone for 25 years. So he has to like make efforts to find shitty phones that he can continue to use.
Surely
I find that impressive.
He bought in bulk back then, and he's got a cupboard of them that where when it fucks up, he just pulls a new one out.
I wonder if his kids are like walking around when they're like college and shit with like flip phones. Like, what? Doesn't your dad own the Suns? Yeah.
Dad owns the fucking company. Who cares?
All right, my encouragement award goes to Paul. Paul, keep your head up. We will have you on, mate. We will have you on. At the moment, I'm just going to blame Boyd. This is Boyd. We tried to get you on, and Boyd said, no, I don't want to talk to him yet.
Send me a cutaway, Paul. Send me a cutaway.
If we keep going down this road, he's not going to fucking come on, guys. And I think he's going to be one of our best fucking guests, man. He's got some good stuff. I know he does. Paul, I'm not getting down with this slander, mate.
What slander? I gave him an encouragement award.
No, you've been a
that's like one of the most prestigious awards on Suns podcasting.
You're being a cock.
At this rate, Paul's going to come on and he's going to pull a David and go with a black screen and no visual.
No, Paul will make sure that you see his open closet in the background or whatever lovely.
We were just talking about the Valley having an open closet on Gay Day. There you go.
Full circle.
Anyway, we're going to move on now.
Moving on.
Round two, of course, we are facing the Dallas Mavericks. Massive, huge challenge for it. Fucking please, Dallas. To be honest, I'm really excited about this series, mainly because I enjoy beating the fuck out of Luca. There is so many parallels, I think, to the
side for a little.
There's so many parallels to the Denver series from last year that I could see us sweeping Dallas. I did say that they might get one, but to be honest, I really see it's just the same matchup as the Denver one last year. One superstar, everything revolves around that superstar, and when we'll pretty much go, you can have yours a little bit here and there, but everybody else is going to struggle. And I think that's exactly what the Suns are going to do. They're going to pick them apart. Luka might have a couple of 40-point games. Who knows? But they won't win.
4 of them.
They won't win.
You won't have 5.
It's as simple as that. So I've sort of broken this down. Let's go into different things. Dallas series, what does our rotation look like? What do you think, Justin?
Well, I think we're going to see, I mean, we're not going to see, well, I shouldn't say we're not, but I don't expect to see much, if any, of the dual big lineup, because we're not going to have that size issue that we saw with the Pels. I think we're going to see a lot of our smaller lineups. We're going to see a lot of Mikhail on Luka, which I'm super excited to see. And I think we're going to see some Jay on Luka, and I think that's going to eventually cause Luka to have a mental breakdown at some point during the series.
Similar to what's in Ward's photo.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like that, but he might actually be on the court during a play, possibly holding the ball while he's crying because of Jay. That's what I'm fully expecting. So I mean, maybe we see some we see some Holiday get some run there. Just he showed some flashes there in the first round, but ultimately I think we're going to see a lot of what we saw throughout the season. I think frankly that if we're talking about playoffs, we're talking about obviously minutes get extended, things like that. Look, I don't want to underestimate the Mavs, but we have a very good history against them. We had a good history against them here this season, and I don't see any reason why that won't carry over. And this might be an opportunity to kind of run some more regular like rotations where we ease up some minutes and save some guys like CP and some of those heavy burden loaded minutes, those games where you play heavy minutes, allow that to maybe be a little bit easier, further down the road. I don't know that we expect to see Mikhail play 47 minutes in a game this series, but look, at the end of the day, it's the playoffs, anything can happen. But yeah, I think we'll see a lot more similar.
That'll be dictated by scores though, won't it?
Yeah, we'll see a lot of
if it's a close game, Mikhail's going to play minutes because Luka's going to play minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Boyd, how do you see the rotation?
Yeah, look, similar to Justin. I don't think we see the Twin Towers. Probably not much of Biombo at all. Look, I think Mikhail plays similar sort of minutes. I think he's off a couple of minutes each quarter, if that. And I think he's going to outrun. He's got a much better motor than fucking Luka. So I think when he's on and Luka isn't, I think it's he'll tie up a Brunson or someone like that who's catching fire. So we're going to have a little bit of extra Mikhail to throw around the court. I think we see some Torrey Craig, and I think we see some Ish Wainwright in some small ball. This isn't a real physical domineering type of a team we're playing. So we can get a bit creative and get some of these other guys some run, I feel. And look, DA is still going to be a staple. And I think we're going to feed him nice and early, and probably give Book a couple of extra games of not being that focal point, not putting too much load on him, regardless of what he tells anyone that he's, I'm feeling great, I can do it all. I feel he
wasn't 100% for that last game.
Still proceed with a little bit of caution. So I'd like to see DA get this series in 4 done with some big numbers over Luka, and let's reiterate why we picked him in 2018.
Nate?
Well, I've got, to answer your question as far as rotations go from the Sun side, I've got 2 initials written down in front of me, and they're circled many, 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 many times till I've drawn a hole in the paper, and it's TC.
Yeah.
He's been on a leash because he was outmatched in a series, and he hasn't been allowed back off. He's now into a series where he is poised to be fucking incredibly effective. And I'm waiting to see how many minutes, how much damage he does. Not necessarily from the scoring point of view, but from a defensive and an irritant point of view. And I just think all the errors that we saw in round 1 from TC and what we didn't see that we wanted to, we're going to see all of the good side and none of the bad in this series. I think the matchup's right, and I think he's essentially, other than Cam, the 6th man.
So personally, the dual big lineup we won't see at all in this series. The Mavs don't have that lineup. I agree completely with you, Justin. The way that the Pels actually lined up, Monty was forced to make that adjustment, and he did it well. It might have taken him a little bit of extra time, but let's be honest, if we weren't shooting 15% from the fucking 3-point line, we wouldn't have needed to make those adjustments, but we had to. But if you have a look at the Mavs lineup as it stands, their center's Dwight Powell. Now, let's be honest, DA doesn't even need to run
Sorry.
screens and get switches. He can seal off Dwight Powell and score at will anyway.
Gav, who?
Yeah. The only, I actually don't think we'll see Biombo unless it's dead minutes in the series. I actually don't think we'll see a lot of JaVale McGee unless Dallas decide to run Bojan. And
Which is a desperation move if it's happening.
Yeah, that's right. And let's be honest, it's you look at the Utah series. Utah runs with Gobert and Whiteside, and Boban didn't play any minutes. So I can't see him playing minutes in this series.
I'd like to see it because he's fun.
Right?
He's a nice guy and he's fun. It might actually make us like Dallas for like a little.
No. Let's not go too far. But I can like Boban without liking Dallas.
There you go.
I feel like he'd be a great guy to have like in one of those like. Remember when the like WCW brought in Shaq for a match? Like, let's get Boban in WWE. That sounds like a perfect place for him. But I don't know that he's going to be on the basketball court this series.
Boban is George Murison. That's what he is.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. But I actually like it. I think the guy can actually play the game. So it's a shame that he's buried so deep on the Dallas bench, particularly when they really, what's their backup, Maxi Kleber? I mean, come on.
That's actually legit. Max Kleber is the second big.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then sometimes they might throw Davis Bertans in there.
But he's traditionally a power forward, not a centre.
Yeah, so. From a size perspective. So I agree with you completely, Nate, that TC is going to play a lot of minutes. We're going to play a lot of small ball in this with Jay or TC at the 5. Mm-hmm. Particularly when what's his name, Dwight Powell is off the floor, because Kleber doesn't play inside either. He just sits on the 3-point line. So from a rotation perspective, I think we're going to see a drop off from JaVale. We won't see Busy unless it's dead minutes. Maybe even JaVale unless it's dead minutes. We're going to see a spike in those. And Boyd, sorry to disappoint you, but we won't see Ish either.
I hope we do.
He's just not going to play those minutes.
Unless he's going to go out there and break something on Luka.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this question, though. Okay, so we're talking about how the Mavs have, like, 0 size. I think we can all sit here and agree that they're not going to be able to handle DA, right? Correct. So why not throw McGee out? I mean, we see that McGee can be effective on offense. If DA is not going to be in there, he's going to be getting a blow. Why wouldn't we throw McGee in there to just continue that type of flow? I mean, and who knows? Maybe we don't even go to DA because, well, that shit happens. But let's assume that we do. Why wouldn't we just continue running that same type of offense through maybe not through is the right word, but with McGee?
So for mine, it's not about the offensive end; it's the defensive end. Fair. So when DA could step out and cover the 3-point line, he doesn't. Yep. He doesn't have to be a guy that just plonks himself in the middle. JaVale can't. He's no good at covering that spread. And if their backup center is Maxi Kleber and he's sitting on the 3-point line just chucking up threes from the corner, well, JaVale's basically wasted in the role that we want to use him in. So that's why I can see
that last game, that Dallas-Utah last game. I'm just looking at the box score now. Dwight Powell only played 10 minutes. His only stat was 1 board. You got Kleber with 23 minutes, 7.6 boards, 3 assists. And then you got Bertans with 2 minutes and no points.
So the reason they use
that's 25. Kleber, that's 35 minutes between 3 players that are above 6'8".
Yeah.
Right.
And
that's all they got.
The reason they used Kleber was they were trying to get Gobert out of the middle.
Yeah.
And they'll try that with DA, but
I actually had this note down here. It's like because I didn't watch that series because there's a lot going on at the moment, right? So I need to go back and look at what that series. But I've got a note written down here. What did the Mavs do to beat Gobert? Because they're going to do the same thing against us because that's the only history. They haven't beat us since 2019.
The reason it won't
work? They haven't won a game. No, but I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying in their eyes, they haven't beat us in 3 years.
But that's
why
they're
going to run whatever they did against Utah back at us.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. The reason they tried Gobert, the reason they wanted Gobert out of there was so that Brunson, because Brunson killed him at the with the midi, that mid-range jump shot. That's where Brunson killed Utah. Luka just jacks up 512 shots and 26 of them go in, and everybody goes, "Oh, he's had 50. What a fucking superstar!" But reality is that's what Luka will do. I don't think they can afford to run the same system against us. The reason it worked against Utah is Utah don't play defense. Donovan Mitchell's horrific on defense. Bogdanovic.
My statement was the one person on the team that does.
No,
play defense,
Gobert and DA have different limitations on defense as well.
Yeah.
Gobert's elite under the rim, but you get him out a bit wider and things start to break down. DA's not like that, right? So he's been known to get out there and stick with guys on the perimeter. Yeah. So I think that's why they won't play that same sort of game.
Yeah, they can't afford to.
But what will they do then?
That's a good question.
What are their options? They have no fucking options.
They're going to run.
I feel like
they're going to run a hell of a lot of pick and rolls to try and get DA onto Luka, and Luka trying to pop threes and try and take DA. That's fine. I mean,
I have zero problem with them switching. If DA switches, I'm all for DA switching on Luka. You know, boy, you bring up a good point. Obviously, we know that DA can gravitate out and play defense out towards the perimeter, but he also loves doing it. Yeah. It's not just that he can, he welcomes it. So I feel like, dude, we know that DA, it takes something to motivate DA. I think we can all agree on that, whether you love DA, hate DA, whatever, we can all agree that he needs something to motivate him. He has those games where it just doesn't seem like he's motivated. Matching up against Luka Doncic, I feel like motivates DA just fine.
Always motivated him.
And the 8-0 record that he has against him probably indicates that that's the case. So yeah,
put that shit on a poster and not Spencer Dinwiddie. That's what you should. That's what you should have, a fucking poster.
And that's spot on, Justin. Is reality is DA always performs against Dallas. Why? Because he wants to prove to everybody that he's the number one pick, not Luka. So the DA plays his game, and he's always in his bag against Dallas. And you add playoffs to that. I mean, let's be honest. If their offense, if their plan is to drag DA out like they did Gobert, and just try to pop some corner threes with Kleber or whatever it's not going to work against that. That sort of play isn't going to work against the Suns. Yeah. They are going to try and get the switch so that DA goes onto Luka instead of McCann. Honestly, Luka isn't explosive.
Yeah,
strong. He's absolutely strong. When he takes the ball to the basket, his body's strong. If he's going to go one-on-one with DA in that situation, I'm good with that.
Yeah. I don't think Luka has a speed or quickness or lateral speed or lateral quickness advantage over DA at all. I just don't. So
he's got a very whingy voice, which I'm worried about the fouls on DA just because he gets automatic fouls. This cunt. Just the throwing the head back, flailing his arms, the groans. I just think I that's probably my biggest fear is the refs succumbing to their usual shit with Luka and letting him have his fucking not letting him have a cry because they're giving him the fouls. So
well, the good news is no Scott Foster for game one. He ref today.
Awesome.
So,
well, before we get too far off the bigs, though, I want to pose a question to all you three guys. At what point in the series does Dallas go, fuck it, let's play Marquise Chris?
I hope it's game one. And I hope
it's game one.
And I hope it's in a blowout. Oh, wow. No,
Marquise doesn't play unless it's dead time. But I don't think Dallas.
You got to think he's sitting on the bench just itching for a minute against this, right?
Come on, coach. Revenge game. Revenge series.
I'll be better than Dwight. And the coach is like, that's not hard.
In the last win against Utah, they basically played a 7-man rotation. I could see something similar here. Yeah. Dinwiddie and Kleber off the bench, maybe a couple of minutes for Green, maybe a couple of minutes for Bertans. Well, honestly, they just don't have the depth to match up with us at all. So in matchups, let's go. I will flow this on. Defensive matchups. So they've got their starting five. You've got Brunson, you've got Luca, you've got Finney Smith, Bullock, and Powell. So we know DA is going to go to Powell. We know, well, actually, we probably don't know that McHale's going to go to Luca. That's sort of what I'm asking you guys is, if McHale goes to Luca, who covers Brunson? Because we don't want CP chasing Brunson around the court. And we don't want Devin Booker chasing Brunson around the court with a...
Why not? Why not CP3 on Brunson? He's not an Alvarado. He's not young. He's a seasoned player. He's not that... There's the age differential, the athleticism isn't that far different. CP3 is a brilliant defender. We know this. So why not CP3 on Brunson?
I think 100% that's all you can do. They're about the same. Look, Brunson's not tall. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2" at a stretch. I think
I could put boots on and talk eye to eye with him. Come on.
So, why I'm asking this question is I think there's, and Justin brought it up before, I think there's two ways that the Suns actually look at this. It's Jay and it's McHale on those two players. Reggie Bullock's going to sit out on a wing, so they're going to play Booker on him. Dorian Finney-Smith is probably one of the more dangerous ones. Well, maybe Booker goes to Finney-Smith and CP goes to Bullock. But honestly, I still see McHale and Jay as the matchups for Luca. And it might be that Monty goes, you know what? We're just going to let Luca have his. We'll play Jay on him. We're going to shut down Brunson because that's where their additional points will come from.
Yeah, but
So
if
we'll
Finney-Smith is filling if Finney-Smith is playing the power forward, and this is just going by where he finished in the last game against Utah, that would put Jay Crowder on Finney-Smith, and that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. But what I'm saying is I don't think that the Suns want either Booker or CP on Jalen Brunson.
Why? Then that was my question to you. Why not CP3?
Because I want CP3's energy on the offensive end, not chasing Jalen Brunson around on the defensive end. Now, you look at the last series, it was CJ McCollum and it was Brandon Ingram. And the defensive jobs were McHale and Jay. And I could see exactly the same thing in this series.
Yeah, but
I honestly, I can
Luca. But that's Luca and Donnie Smitty fifth.
No. It's
with
Luca
Jay and McHale.
Luca and Brunson are the two. They're the two
Really?
we have to cover off. They're the ones that are gonna.
I didn't see Brunson on a fucking poster.
And Dinwiddie when he does come in.
Yeah. But that'll
I mean, look, I can see it. I mean, I won't say the logic's not there. If you want to say, if you see Brunson as the guy who could be the quote unquote difference maker, only because Luka's going to do whatever Luka's going to do, and somebody's going to have to really step up if that team is going to have a chance to beat the Suns, and they say, okay, that's going to be that guy. I mean, I could see logic behind like you're saying there, Gavin. Put Bridges on Brunson, let Jay deal with Luka, and then I'm guessing you're thinking if Bullock's going to be sitting out there on a wing, maybe have CP sidewise on him, because Dorian Finney-Smith, even though he plays the 4, is still in like 6'7", I think he is,
and
so
most of his stuff happens outside.
Yeah, and if we're gonna say put Book on him, all right. Like, I'm not really too worried about that matchup. I could see the team taking that approach. And I can see it working. Honestly, I can see it working no matter what. I mean, I can see it working just fine if they put McHale on Luka and put CP on Brunson. I just think this team is there's just too much there on the offensive side for the defensive side to really have that much of a concern, at least as far as I see it. I mean, we're going to play the defense we're going to play. We're capable of playing great defense. We know that no matter who we put on who.
I think
just shed some light on the humorous side of all this. You're literally sitting here talking about the biggest problem being Jalen Brunson. What a fucking good problem to have! Like, fucking come on.
I don't think the biggest problem is Jalen Brunson. I think the biggest problem is Luka, clearly. But I honestly, I think we've seen during regular season matchups, we're happy just to give Luca his whatever. Have your bag, Luca. No one cares.
I think,
but we need to cut out the additional options.
I think CP. We're not going to get cute. I think CP3 sticks with Brunson. I think Luca's going to be so ball dominant in this series that there's going to be plenty of time for CP3 to get a breath out there. It's going to, he could be, Luca could just be fucking pounding the air out of that ball, right? And I don't know. I don't watch much Mavs basketball, but does Brunson really move off the ball like a fucking crazy man? Is he really going to do that? Or is it just going to be everyone get out and let Luca go?
No, Brunson's also very much a ball dominant type player when he does get the ball. When Luca does give it up, it's Brunson off the dribble, really.
Yeah. So, in which case, I don't think it's going to happen frequent enough for me to worry about CP3 getting gassed on him too much.
Yeah.
And I think Jay goes to Bullock, and I think Booker takes on Finney Smith. I'm pretty sure he did last time. So, and I think adjust if you need to, but I don't think we will need to. We don't really have to worry.
I'm just saying right now, don't be surprised if we rock out game 1 tomorrow and Jay Crowder goes to Luka Doncic and Mikal Bridges goes to Brunson.
I will be absolutely shocked.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, offensive structures. The beauty of this game, and I suppose we can go into it in general match discussion, but the beauty of this game is that unlike the Pels, the Mavs will just play like they do in a regular season. So I think that the Pels actually threw us out of a lot of our structured plays, and mainly because Willie knows them so well. We will see our side run plays pretty much every time down the floor. Anyone disagree?
No, I think we'll see. I think we'll see a lot more of the offense that we're used to seeing. Not just in how it operates, but also in the output that we see. I think we're going to see a lot more efficiency. I think we're going to see better shooting. One thing I looked at earlier today, I was watching the jam session guys because I just sit around and watch Suns podcasts.
Yeah.
I was watching those guys, and I was kind of curious what some of our guys who did not perform that well in that first series, Jay and Landry, most specifically, how they performed this year against the Mavs, and both shot quite well. Jay shot like 43% from three. I think Landry, if I remember correctly, shot like 39%. So I think when we get into this series, and to the point I made earlier, in terms of rotations, regular season type stuff being perhaps more present here as opposed to trying to make different playoff adjustments like we had to do first round, just because like you're saying, Gavin, I don't think the Mavs are going to throw out anything different than they really were throwing out during the regular season. I expect those guys to have the same types of performances. So I think our offense should be humming nicely in this second round and hopefully instill a little more confidence than maybe it did in some people in that first round.
Yeah, I agree with that, and we're going to see those empty corner threes. Those opportunities are just going to come in this game where the Pels made it really hard to run that at times. I mean, shit, how many times this year have we seen CP3 trying to fucking post up someone, and he's like he was Alvarado early in in that series, because it's just not the way we run our offense. And let's be honest, the Mavs have got one defender, Dorian Finney-Smith. The rest of them, Luca hasn't played a fucking minute of defense since he's joined the league. And Jalen Brunson.
Hey. He lies down on the floor and he cries and he makes sure the refs are watching, all right?
And
Fuck off. True. That man plays the best Dallas defense we've ever seen.
If Jalen Brunson goes to Devin Booker, we are going to see Devin Booker posting up nonstop over and over again because that man can't defend Devin Booker. So I think Finney-Smith will start on Book. That's going to be their plan. I think it was during the regular season. Brunson will probably go to CP, maybe Bullock. I don't know. Bullock's probably their second best defender. But outside of that, even their bench, if you look at their bench, they've got no defenders this mob. So we're going to see pretty straightforward structures and setups, which we've seen all year. And I agree with you, Justin. We're just going to see a return of the confidence within Suns Twitter and Aussie Suns fans Facebook land and all that sort of stuff, because we're just running the plays that work.
Well, let's face it, the Mavs haven't figured out how to beat us in 3 years. Not once, right? So if we go out and do what we do because we know it works, they go out, they have no idea what works, so they're just going to be reaching for whatever they can to try and figure out what works. We know what works. We've done it for 3 years. Simple.
I think we're
looking forward.
We're 9-1 with them since they drafted Luca and we drafted DA. And the one win they had, DA didn't play.
Correct.
So, generally, overall, any other comments on this series against Dallas that anybody would like to make? I mean, again, I don't think their rotation is going to be deep. We may see some Boban at some time, particularly if JaVale does go in as the secondary centre and just bullies them, which there's every chance on the offensive end. That's exactly what he does. But they rotated, as I said, they had 9 players that played in the last game. 2 of those 9 only played 2 minutes. So really, they ran a 7-man rotation. Their depth is fucking horrible. There's nobody else there like.
I'd love to keep talking about Marquise Chris just because,
Speaking of depth,
he's got to do something good for us, right? At some point, his whole career, he's got to do something good for the Suns. And if that's fucking up in Dallas, that's great.
He's going to lose 4 games as a Dallas Maverick. That's perfect.
Well, all right, here's another question then. And Justin, you answer this. How many minutes is Davis Bertans getting in game 1?
You know what? I bet he gets 10 minutes in game 1. I think Davis Bertans is going to get a little bit of run because they're going to try to see if they can stretch the floor and get him to hit some threes. That's really the only thing that he brings to the table. Maybe he'll hit 1, maybe he'll 2, but then also realize that he's a gigantic liability against our team when he's on the floor on the other side of on the other side of the court. So I think they might throw him out there, see if he can ignite some spark. But
and off the bench, he's going to be guarding Cam Johnson, and Cam's going to basically be able to walk to the basket.
Yeah.
For those dunks.
Well, actually, yeah, because I think there's only an inch between them, really, isn't there? Cam 6'9", Davis is 6'10".
Yeah. Cam comes in to replace Jay Crowder, and Bertans is the defensive assignment. Cam Johnson's going to have plenty of Cam slams.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they just don't have the depth. They're going to
rely the Red Mamba, wasn't he?
And let's be honest, look at our losses.
What was that?
He was the Red Mamba, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the Red Mamba at some stage. In Washington.
In case everyone forgot that.
Dude, I used that. Hey, I'm not going to lie. I was like, he'd be a nice fit on the Suns. Stretch guy can knock down the 3. I'm good now. No,
Nate was also on Bertans in our off-season pods. He was all over Davis Bertans. He wanted.
I think I actually preferred Mo Wagner, to be honest.
But reality is that, look, the games we've lost this year, including the games against the Pelicans, sides go fucking ballistic from 3-point and just don't miss. That's the only way the Mavericks are going to win a game, is if they catch fire, hit a lot of threes. I think they took 42 threes in their last game against Utah. Realistically, they have to catch fire. That's the only way we're dropping a game in this series against Dallas. Righto, series predictions. Nate, what do you got us? How are we winning this?
Mate, I literally look at last year, look at this year. So the round 2 last year, Denver had a better team last year than Dallas do this year. We have a better team this year than we did last year. I don't see us dropping a game. I think this is a sweep.
Boyd?
Yeah, just 4 sweep.
Of course.
Do you
have a reason though?
Well, look, one thing I will mention is that ESPN, all their bloody media people have tipped Phoenix to win the series. There's a lot of 6s and 7s there, but there's not
first.
one. There is not one ESPN punter back in the Mavs to take us out. So I've got it in 4, and I'm just wondering if it's going to be 4 blowouts or fucking they're going to get some close. I'm really that confident.
Justin?
Yeah, I've got it in 4, and the only caveat I'll put with that is if we get a Scott Foster game, then maybe it's not 4. But Scott Foster can't officiate 4 of 7 games, so I'm not going to be too worried about it. But my camera,
That's
really has a mind of its own. Here's all of my house.
You were in shorts, bro.
I don't know what's happening.
It's underwear.
Hey, it's not cold out here like it is down in Australia right now. It's hot, guys. So I got.
Is that what that was? I was wondering what that was hanging out of the bottom there. Jesus.
I think we win it.
I mean,
again, the only way I could see Dallas winning a game is if they catch fire from the 3-point line. I'm going to give them one of those games, and I think we win it in 5.
And that game will probably be ref by Scott Foster, so it'll be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Is that the allowance? Is it a Scott Foster allowance?
Scott Foster
or is it a Dallas allowance?
It's a Scott Foster game. He's going to make sure that Phoenix aren't allowed to defend Luka and basically blow the whistle. They'll have 55 foul shots to our 12 and also catch fire from the 3-point line for 1 game.
I don't think even Scott Foster can help the Mavs beat the Suns this series.
I love that.
Well, he has to win 1 game against us, right?
I do hope that Scott Foster does ref us in a game and CP3 wins just to break that fucking bullshit thing before NBA Finals, because we know that Foster's going to get an NBA Finals game.
You watch Foster after that win, he'll be like, see, I do let him win. I do let him win every now and then.
Justin, do you reckon the team would get fined if our starting 5 went out with them little white cotton dishwashing gloves on? So, because we're going out, Scott Foster's reffing the game, and everyone's wearing the white cotton gloves because we don't want to call for anything. We're going to
because you don't want to get.
Yeah, and if they did that and they said this is for Scott's benefit, do you reckon they get fined?
I feel like that might be against the equipment rules in the NBA. So Scott Foster might not let them do it. So they probably avoid a fine. So in fact, Scott Foster might help us there, but the message would still be sent. So there's the win-win.
It would be funny.
Although that would also mean Scott Foster would have to do his job. So I'm not sure that
good. Hey boys, could we get some sort of shirt made up saying
I was just gonna say that. Justin, I've got a challenge for you. If you get to one of the games, buy a t-shirt. They can be printed, made pretty easily. Fuck Scott Foster for the game he does ref us at home.
You might get fined for that one.
Fuck Scott Foster.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would. Not in Phoenix, buddy. Not in Phoenix.
Let's see it.
Actually, hey, I don't want you to wear it in Phoenix. I want you to get that shirt printed out when you go to Dallas.
Well, dude, I see. Here's the thing, though. I feel like fans around the NBA would all be like, "Yeah, get me one of those," no matter what team you're a fan of. Because, dude,
there's a
team out there that's not. There was a Scott Foster reffed the Boston Nets last game of the series, if I'm not mistaken, and both sides on Twitter, both sides were like, "Well, we're fucked." It's like, wait a minute, hold on. This is like the one maybe that's why the NBA has kept him around. So there is somehow a unifying force in the NBA universe that brings all fans together, and that is
the universal hate symbol.
But according to
somebody get John Voider to get on his Redbubble and bring that shirt out, because you might get some sales in Australia.
Text him and tell him we want fuck Scott Foster shirts over here in Australia. Nate and I will pick them up when we're over there for the NBA Finals.
On it.
Meanwhile, it's 2 a.m. over there, and John's like, fuck this guy.
It's 11:45. Void is up late. I know him. It's fine. Maybe he's not. I don't know. We'll find out.
All right, let's just quickly touch on the other series. So we're obviously into the semifinals. In the West, the other series is Warriors and Memphis. Obviously, already played a game today. The Warriors now up 1-0. The only comment I'm going to make is Jar is not that guy.
I didn't watch the game.
I think
I'm
Jar
not interested.
Jar struggled in the first round, and he struggled again today.
Jar is
His
the
box score was
guy,
all right.
but not
He
this
had
year.
moments. He had moments, but the reality is Memphis can't beat the Warriors because Jar is not that guy.
He is that guy, not this year.
What do you mean? He's been fucking.
I'm only talking about
This is
right
not
now.
their year.
And right
This is
now,
not their year.
right now he's not that guy. He's not going to carry Memphis to a series win or a Western Conference Final series, where he is right now. In all honesty, the most effective Memphis player of the playoffs so far has been Desi Bain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Has been
I'm not
who?
even-
Desmond Bain.
Okay,
I'd
that's
prefer-
okay. Yeah.
I'd prefer to see Memphis next round, just quietly. But yeah, I
So
couldn't.
would I,
couldn't
but we're not gonna.
Yeah.
We're
Now,
not.
see,
My
I'd
favorite
rather-
part of that game today was watching that last play where he drove past and Clay came out and just held the wall, and then he hits the back of the padding, and he sees it miss, and it's all over, and it's a still frame, and they've got the camera on him, and all you can see is Jar go, fuck. And he's like, he realized that moment was him realizing, fuck, mate, like what you said, Boyd. Maybe I'm not that guy this year.
And reality is that Taylor Jenkins was in the conversation for Coach of the Year, and that was the play he drew up.
Right. Yeah. That's exact. Thank you. That play was garbage.
It was fucking terrible.
The commentators picked it up. They said it. They're going to give him a running start. They're going to create a driving lane. And, like, if the commentators can see it, the
other team
can defend for it, right?
Dude, that was like that was like one of those campaign layups in a third quarter when you're like, oh, Cam, sometimes you make that, but let's not do that all the time. That's your play in the well, and the thing too is, look, Jaws. I don't watch a ton of Memphis basketball, but you know, watch. I've been watching playoff games, what have you. You know, the drawback that I think, or the shortcoming he has, at least at this point, is that outside shooting, right? Because they have to drop a play like that because that's how he's going to be effective. You know, they're going to drop a play. Like, look, if that's Book, we can drop a play where he's taking that ball to the hole. We can drop a play where he's pulling up. He can do what the fuck he wants to do. Ja, they have to draw a play because that's his strength. And when you have Steve Kerr on the other side coaching against, you know, he knows that's coming. They clearly knew that was coming because they had three guys sitting there waiting for it. And there wasn't even a thought of kicking that out to anyone else. Not that there was a whole lot of time, but there probably was enough time if there was somebody for him to swing it.
They should have.
I'm sure that wasn't anywhere in the play.
They should have drawn that play up for Desmond Bain.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, it was the most predictable shit I've ever seen in my life. It was so easy to read.
I thought the last part of that game, they played down.
If that was Masters over 35s on a Tuesday night, I would have known that play was coming.
Wait, how many over 35-year-old guys do you know that can run that far without like slowing down though? I need at least like 3-point line down is I can sprint that far. That's about it.
It'd be very, very slow, but you still know it was coming.
Same play, same concept. I got it.
Just slow motion. Slow motion.
Fair. You know, I'll say this though. I want the Warriors in the next round, dude. I want them because fuck them. Shut up everybody about them because the Suns will. And
that's the thing. If Memphis somehow work out a way to get through, all we're going to read about from Warriors fans is if we had got through, you wouldn't have got there.
If we didn't lose, we would have won. Oh,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's right.
They can hop in line with the Lakers fans and tell us that too, right?
Exactly right. Exactly right. Nate, what's your prediction for Warriors Memphis?
Yeah, I think I pretty much alluded to. I don't think that Jar is the guy this year. I think next year the evolution of Jar, we're going to see a whole different Grizzlies team, and it'll be interesting to see what they do around him. I think he's going to learn a lot from this year. He's still got the playoffs training wheels on, right? And the one thing the Warriors don't have is training wheels. They know exactly what the fuck is going on, and I just don't see how they'll lose it.
And if Jordan Poole keeps pulling the shit he's pulling,
yeah,
that side is a hell of a lot better.
I do have to fucking invest some enjoyment in all the Bleacher Report reels we're seeing where Jordan Poole passes behind the back of Clay, who's open for a three, to find somebody else who isn't open to reset a play. And they're like Jordan Poole doing Jordan Poole things, and Clay is just like,
I did say Clay cracked it too.
So it's kind of like, I call it the Utah effect.
The reason I've got this segment, the reason I've got this segment is because I want you to predict a loss for somebody. So Warriors versus Memphis. How's it going to end up?
I reckon.
Memphis Nate, we still need you.
They'll still get 2. I reckon Memphis will get 2 at least. Yeah.
4-2. Okay. Boyd.
Yeah, I think Memphis. No, I think Warriors get them in 6.
4-2, right? Justin?
I just hope they beat them up. I just hope they beat each other up.
Yeah. Hopefully a good, hard-fought 6 games, but I think it's 6 also. Yeah.
I hope Jaren Jackson fouls more than any human in the history of the NBA. No, that's not true. Marquise Chris fouled more. Jaren Jackson, please just fucking smash Draymond at some stage in this series. Just like put him into the front row, just destroy the bloke. Draymond is their anchor. There is no doubt about it, but he's also fragile. So if the Grizzlies can make this at least a little bit physical, that'd be nice. But I think Memphis maybe wins 1. It's 4-1. Warriors will win it easy. Miami versus Philly. Nate, on the other side, who's getting through to have the privilege of playing the Suns in the NBA Finals?
Well, hang on a minute. The winner of that series doesn't necessarily...
No, I know. I'm just saying the winner of these 2 series.
I always had Miami getting through, but as we progress round to round, obviously there's injuries, there's people missing. So, I mean, you've got Kyle missing, you've got Butler missing, you've got some other injuries going around. Now you've got a concussion and some face jam going on with Embiid.
Yep.
Shit, I don't know, but that is a beat up series, whoever comes out of it. I still think it's going to be Miami because of Spo, but
yeah, and I'll just be nice and quick here. Miami get it 4 or 5. 5. I'll just say 5, and I couldn't really care less. I don't know why we spend so much time on this other conference, Gab.
You wanted to talk to Justin, so I made another
little extra time, as much time as possible.
Justin needs to go to bed. He's going to be up at 5.
We all want to get this wrapped up because we've been going for
actually
a little bit.
Tomorrow morning.
All right, Justin, what's your prediction? Miami, Philly.
I'll go Miami. I mean, Embiid's not traveling first 2 games. They're playing without him. Does that, if he comes back and is, his usual self, does that mean they can't win? Maybe not. But I've picked Miami. I've picked Miami since before the playoffs started, and I'll stick with them.
Embiid's had this injury before. He missed 22 days last time he had it after the surgery. He may wear a mask and go full fucking book on it and wear a mask and come back for a couple of games. But Miami win this pretty easily. Probably likely a sweep. Philly might sneak one at some stage, but I'm going to go Miami a sweep. Bucks Celtics. Already one game. The Bucks lead at 1-0. Nate?
I think Boston, as good as they've been for the latter half of their season and through the playoffs, I think they're going to experience what the Suns did in the finals.
They sure did this morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's a continuation without Chris Middleton. Yeah.
Giannis can play NFL when everybody else has to play basketball.
Yeah, but he gets away with bullshit.
Yeah, but I mean, and I didn't watch all of the game. I think I just caught a little bit at the end. But I mean, Giannis didn't even play particularly well. 9 for 25. He only shot 11 free throws. But I think that game's aberrant. I think Boston wins the series, but it's not my turn yet. So Nate was still talking. I think I just didn't.
So you think Boston got this?
I think it's Boston. Like I think Boston's looked good throughout the year. I know my boy. I know my baby. Okay, maybe not Okay, not the entire year. Fair. You're right. They've looked good recently. Okay, you're right. I know Dan Duarte hates Jason Tatum. I don't really like him either, but he's not the guy that I think about at this point with that team. I think more, well, right now I think Marcus Smart, just because fuck that guy. I can't believe he won Defensive Player of the Year. But I more often go to Jaylen Brown, I think, with that team. But I just something with the Bucks. I've said before, I don't think the Bucks are the same team that they were last year. Yeah, they got this win today, but I don't think they're going to beat them in the series, and they're still playing without Middleton. Yeah, right. He hasn't come back. So
he'll pretty much miss the entire series. I think
that's what I thought. So I'm going to stick with the Celtics in that series. I think that series could go 6 or 7, but I think the Celtics will be winning. Now, all that said, I wouldn't be shocked if it went the other way. That's not what I'm picking.
So Nate, what was your prediction with the Bucks? How many games?
Oh, I didn't pick games. I just picked Bucks. But I'll stretch it to 7.
Yeah.
I think that is good. I think it'll be a dogfight because it's a one-man show in Milwaukee, and he's going to have to do his 50-piece shit to pull it through. I still think he'll do it, and I think I just think Boston are going to experience what we did in the finals.
Boyd?
Prior to the Middleton injury, I didn't think Tatum could contain Giannis like he did Durant. They're completely two different animals when it comes to offense. So, and I had Milwaukee doing it in 5. Now, I think Boston, just because they've got more to throw at them right across the board, I think that they're going to get it in a 7 series, and it's going to come down to the fact that exactly.
It's Al Horford, right? It's Al Horford.
It's Al Horford. It's Marbo. It's the vibe. It's just what it is. Now
I love you, boys.
Jay, that's a movie reference. It's Marbo.
Movie.
It's a movie.
It's an Aussie movie, yeah.
It's an Aussie movie.
The classic.
And even our deputy premier of Queensland quoted it to try and shade some fucking political sting lately.
You need to take the time to watch it. It's called The Castle.
The Castle.
The Castle.
Noted.
Not The Castle. The Castle.
The Castle.
Get on that shit. Exactly. The Castle. Get on that shit.
Aussie movie. It's sensational. Watch it.
You guys watch The Good Place? You ever hear that show?
Yes. Yeah, my wife watches it.
But my daughter watches. I was watching it with her recently, and like it's part of it's in Australia. The part I'm in right now, one of the guys, Ted Danson, actually like has this Australian accent he's doing, and it was just terrible. And I'm like, oh man, if I just went on the pod one time to start talking like with a terrible Australian accent, they'd probably kick my ass when they come out here actually in June. I think that. So. But I thought about you guys. My point is
Danson needs to understand that his legacy is Cheers and stop trying to act elsewhere.
There was an excellent scene where he was a bartender and he like threw it over his shoulder and turned, and I was like, oh snap.
Boy, so you think 5 games, the Bucks?
No, I did think that. Now I think it goes to 7, and I'm just sort of going to and fro. It'll probably be Boston in 7. It's just going to be tough. Tough for Giannis to bash out these triple-double, 50-pointers, 50-point games. But yeah, Boston in 7.
Boston will catch fire. It's what they do, but they won't win the series. The Bucks will win it, but in 7. I do agree that this is going to be probably the matchup of the Eastern Conference, to be honest. I think if the Bucks get through this, they walk through whoever they play out of the other series. But I just can't see. I can't see Miami or Philly beating either of these sides with the way the Celtics have played in the back half of the year if they do get through. And Giannis is allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants. So whoever gets out of this series, I think, is going to come out of the East. And I think it's a pretty exciting. Honestly, they're two good sides. It's not a bad matchup to watch.
Yeah.
So should be good. That's pretty much all we have, though. We're done. Game 1 tomorrow. Tomorrow your time, Justin. Tomorrow our time. I think we're 12 p.m. Is that right, lads?
Yep, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock in Aussie time.
Yep. So
that is 7 p.m. local.
7 p.m. in Arizona, 12 p.m. in Australia. Either time is beer o'clock. Make sure that you have the fridge stocked and watch us win game 1 against Crybaby Luca. He's going to look exactly like he does in Boyd's photo by the end of this game tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. But actually, before we do that, wrap up, last comments, Nate.
Hey, stick around, Jay, so we can get Paul engaged. There's my last comments. Stick around after me, and let's make this happen. But for the rest of it, is go Suns.
Boyd, last comments.
I got none, mate.
There's a shot. Justin, last comments.
Suns in 4. I just got word from my buddy of mine. Apparently I'm going tomorrow. So
yes, nice.
I'll be loud for you guys.
Good.
Maybe even in an Australian accent. Who knows?
Practice it.
So will you be sitting in a similar spot to where you were with else?
No, so I go most of the games I go to. My buddy that's in the office next to me has half season tickets. We go to a lot of games together, so I go to a lot of playoff games with him. The last game I went to, actually ended up getting tickets with Jake. He was coming in town to go to the game, so we got a little special seating for that one. But we're at the 13th row, so we're still within shouting distance. Not quite. I don't think I'll get any kisses blown to me from there. But hey, you know what?
Okay, so
what we want, special seating.
What we want,
me and Gav are coming into town. Can you get us?
You better get us some fucking special seating.
I didn't say I got special seating. Special seating was purchased.
What we want from you as a special shout out to the Aussie Suns Fans podcast is at some stage when there's a little bit of a lull, whatever it is, maybe at halftime when they come back out to warm up or whatever.
Okay.
Just say, write this down so that you don't forget. Hey, Luca, the Aussie Suns fans say fuck you.
I don't need to write that down. I remember that.
Get that on film for us so that we can cut it into our next pod.
Or just scream at the top of your voice, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Yeah, and see whether anyone else in the building goes,
see if
oi,
anybody
oi, oi.
responds to it. That I guarantee you I can make that happen. Because I won't get kicked out for that. Because I read the little card that I got the last game. Apparently profanity is frowned upon at games. I don't know.
Oh, really? You got a card?
Oh, dude, I wish I have it here somewhere because you know I'm going to keep that with me. It's a fan code of conduct card they put on all the seats when you're sitting close enough. Or maybe they just knew I was going to be sitting there, so they're like, sprinkle some around here, make sure the message gets out.
That's
just
fabulous.
Yell out Aussie, 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 Justin. We'll follow. We'll follow.
If you yell that out, you should hear somebody in the crowd that's from Australia yell out oi, oi, oi.
If not, check your messages. You'll get the texts.
Mind you, most Australians, I don't know, Boyd, Nate, I don't know how you take this, but I find that really fucking annoying when Australians do
people,
Aussie, oi, oi, oi.
Where? No, I love it.
Oh,
especially
really?
if it's overseas. Fuck yeah.
It does me head. Oh, it does.
Yeah, so if I do it, it's not like considered like cultural misappropriation.
No.
Fuck no.
It's an Aussie catch cry.
Started the Olympics.
Yeah, generally.
I've heard it. No, I've heard it. I just don't know if non-Aussies are allowed to do it.
Yeah, you can go for it. It's how we find.
If you guys can be like, Justin, that's our word. You can't yell that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's how we find Australians when we're
somebody in the crowd may go, shit, was that Ted Danson?
Justin, we haven't got any other options, mate. I don't think we know anyone else going to the game, so it's on you regardless.
You're nothing. Yeah.
The Twitter circle.
Lucky for you guys. The fact that you're looking for somebody to do something moderately obnoxious, you're probably asking the right guy. So
fist pump. There it is.
All right, boys.
And let's be honest. When Nate and I are over there, you're gonna hear it. It's gonna.
We'll be outside and you'll hear it.
It's gonna happen in bars or games. It's just gonna happen.
I'm fully expecting like there to be an Australian chant at the game that you guys are at. Like it just gets started. Like That's my expectation. Not that I'm setting the bar too high, because I think you guys got that in you.
No, I think we certainly have, and probably will.
It's actually got a good ring to it. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Aussie Fans Podcast. Oi, oi, oi.
Fucking
Like it.
so cringeworthy. Hopefully Torrey Craig jumps on it, Nate. If you guys bust it out while you're over there, he might.
He's been in Australia.
Love the Brisbane Bullets.
Up the Bullets.
That's what. Hey, I'll yell, dude. Pregame, I'll be like, Torrey, Brisbane loves you. I'll get one of those out.
Do
See
it.
if I can get his
Do
attention.
it.
Yeah.
He does. He has a lot of love.
And everyone's gonna be like, that guy doesn't sound like he's from Australia. I talked to people from over there, and they told me, okay, it's official.
Okay, so what we can do here, because we're very, very good at this in Australia, we now crown you an honorary Australian. So you can do whatever you like.
I'm not there yet. Sorry, Justin.
They'll go,
That's okay.
what are you doing? You're not Australian. You can go, I'm the Aussie Suns fans, guys. They crowned me an honorary Australian.
It just makes my heritage mix even more confusing, which I love. That's fantastic.
Because that's what we do out here. If somebody has any ties to Australia at all, and they're popular and people like them, we just claim them as our own.
I love it, dude. I feel better already being an honorary Australian. Like, it makes me feel like a better person.
And then when they fuck up, we get rid of them. So Mel Gibson was Australian for so long. And then he was racist as hell, and Australia went, no, he's a Yank.
Never heard of the guy. What are you talking about? Australian?
What are you talking about? Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe's from New Zealand. But Australia went, no, he's ours. He's Australian. It's fucking ours. And then he threw a phone at someone's head and no longer Australian.
See, to be fair, all of those propensities probably were learned by them in America. So it's probably the right move.
Yeah. We need to cut them off. If they don't behave like Australians, we need to cut them off.
I want to cut you off right now, Gav.
Okay, cut me off. Thank you for joining us. Follow me on Twitter at GuessWorkGav, at Aussie Suns Fans. Apparently it's Boots, but it's actually spelled Boots.
Boots 83. What is
Boots it? 83. It's not Boots. It's Boots 83. Justin at SoSaysJ.
That's me.
Nobody fucking knows because he doesn't
know. I mean, it's at Nicky's Falcon, and good luck finding it interesting.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter. If you're listening, watching, whatever, like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. We want to get this episode up to like 7,000-8,000 views. We're not that far off at the moment.
Yeah, no, the first milestone is 10.
I think we're like 6,500 people off. So, that's thanks for listening. Justin, thanks for jumping on at late notice, mate. Appreciate it.
Always fun, boys. You know, I can't say no to you guys.
We will see you next Monday, hopefully with a wrap-up of how many games between now and next Monday?
Game 4 is Sunday, so we would have 4 games by then.
Okay, so the game 4 will be the day of our pod, so we should be wrapping up another series.
Nice.
And talking about our matchup for the Western Conference Finals come next Monday. Well done, guys. See you guys next week.
See you guys.
Yeah, Aussies.
How was that? Was that good? I don't know if that was good. I had a bird when I was a kid, but we kept it in a cage. Fucking Americans. God, we're terrible.
Terrible people.
It's going to be a good time.